When in May 2007, the people of Cross River State freely and overwhelmingly gave their mandate to Senator Leali Moke to be their governor, expectations were high that he will take the state, which prides itself as a nation's paradise, to the next level by building on the successes of past administrations. A first-time visitor to Calabar, the state capital, will agree that, to a large extent, the state could truly be described as a paradise. The aesthetics, the clean air, the safe and serene environment, dotted with well-manicured lush green lawns, the free flow of traffic on its major roads, its relaxed, friendly people, and the beautiful and unique monument and landmarks all add up to make Cross River State Nigeria's jewel of tourism heaven. Despite all of these accolades, however, a visit to the hinterland of the state reveals a sharp contrast. Signs of the long neglect of the rural areas are manifest. Basic infrastructures like motorable roads, potable water, access to qualitative health and educational facilities are either totally lacking or in deplorable conditions. After a careful analysis of what was on ground, it became apparent that if urgent action was not taken to address the situation, the gap between the rural and urban centers will continue to widen. Cross River State may never get near the attainment of the United Nations Millennium Development Goals 2015. Having accepted the people's mandate, the challenge for Senator Imoke on assumption of the office of governor was how to tackle the developmental challenges at the grassroots and make the presence of government felt at that level. The need for a paradigm shift in development strategy, from where government projects are concentrated in urban centers to the detriment of the majority rural areas, became imperative. To close this gap, carry the entire people of the state along, create a sense of belonging, and spread the dividends of democracy to all nooks and crannies of the state, Governor Leali Moke decided that his administration will make integrated rural development the centerpiece of state policy.
Well, I always tell people that I have a number of visitors who come to Cross River State. They come in and they see Calabar, they see Tinapa. Occasionally they go and they see the Obudu Mountains. Okay, and then the big question is what lies in between. So you have these iconic projects, these edifices, but yet Cross River is still one of the poorest states in the country. 70% of the people that elected us still reside in the rural areas. Now, if you're going to bring development, then without addressing those 70% of the people, then that development cannot be considered to be meaningful. And as such, it became imperative that while there was an urban renewal program in the previous administration, there was also a need to have a rural renewal program, if you want to call it that, that would now see to rural development so that we could have holistic development across board in the entire state.
To actualize a dream of bringing the rural communities up to acceptable standards, soon after swearing in, the governor in 2007 presented a bill for the creation of Cross River State Rural Development Agency, RUDA, to the State House of Assembly for their consideration and passage. RUDA was to be the powerhouse of all rural development programs of the state. As an interventionist agency, RUDA's mandate includes the development and maintenance of rural infrastructure, including rural feeder roads, rural water supply facilities, rural health and educational infrastructure, the mobilization of rural communities to enhance their participation in and cooperation with agencies involved in rural development, liaison with other agencies concerned with the provision of rural infrastructure and other amenities, and carry out such other functions as the governor may, from time to time, direct the agency to undertake. This is the Ogoja Okende Ibil Vanzara Road project, one of the two projects in Ogoja local government area of the state. It is almost 37 kilometers in length and cuts across several villages and communities in the rice-producing belt of the state. Before now, movement of persons and goods was hampered by the absence of motorable roads. A major river across what passed as a road added to the woes of the people. Farmers, with their farm produce, could wait several hours at the river bank to allow the tide to go down before crossing. All they had as a bridge across the river is this Bailey Bridge, built in the 70s, which could hardly take a car, let alone a heavy vehicle.
I have never crossed the river like this, which is always lose human being. But thank God today the road is already. That is what happened in my life. All is this bridge.
We don't see God where can help us, and the God where can help us be say now that overall where the answer lia imoke. So in fact the thing where he do for us for life we not go forget him. We really appreciate what he did.
Thank God very well for this that we are seeing. So that is one thing I'm benefiting from. Now I can move any time of the day to come and see my people, and I go back and nothing will stop me on the road again. So I'm very happy with that.
But the Imoke administration has hearkened to the yearnings of the people with the construction of the Awi Mbarakom Road and drainage. With the road, it is now relatively easy to navigate the area throughout the year. The almost 2 feet deep drainage pathway and the stone-based erosion control technology will guarantee a longer lifespan for the road. This man is a prince in one of the communities enjoying the road. Having lived all his life in the community, he shares his experience before the road was constructed.
In fact, we cannot express our happiness or delightfulness because in time past, we have been in serious darkness because people used to refer this place as the last bus stop. But today, any moment you wake up from your sleep from the house, you come out, you see free access, have a mobility to go wherever you want. So I think that is an advantage.
Talking about the achievements of the Cross River State government in the improvement of educational infrastructures, one cannot but likewise go back in history. By global standard, access to education should be the right of every child. No child should be deprived of getting good and qualitative education because of finance or his station in life. Both in qualitative and quantitative terms, a government worth its salt must ensure that education is at the reach of all. The school environment should also be such as to stimulate sufficient interest in teaching and learning. Provision of laboratories, libraries, sporting and other recreational facilities must be made to bring about a wholesome development of the child. However, before the decision of the state government to undertake a comprehensive rehabilitation and upgrading of facilities, what did we have in Cross River schools? Sites like this were a common feature in most of the state schools. Dilapidated buildings, broken roofs, no doors and windows, tables without chairs and chairs without tables, congestion in the classes, and so on and so forth. Teachers' capacity and morale were at their lowest ebb. With situations like this, how can the Cross River child compete with his or her mates globally? This is why there is this conscious commitment of the Liali Moke administration to comprehensively upgrade facilities in the schools, improve the tools and teaching aids to make teaching more pleasurable.
I don't like superficial development. I like realistic, holistic development that you can understand and appreciate its impact and the impact is measurable. So there's a need for us to go and look at education and see what we're doing with education and whether our children could compete in a global economy, because the world is getting smaller and our children are becoming less and less competitive. So there's a need to start to look at education right from the primary level through the secondary level. Look at cross-board at the training programs, the curriculum, the infrastructure, and of course the teachers. Was very critical for us.
Professor Ofyong is a Cross River State Commissioner for Education. He says the education standard was such that only a comprehensive overhaul could halt the deterioration.
What we are trying to achieve is to bring the 60 secondary schools we're intervening presently to the Cross River State standard. And we have, as a state, set a standard for ourselves that for us to have a proper secondary school, we must have one adequate number of classrooms for a student population not exceeding 40-45 per classroom. And we must also have 4 laboratories for physics, chemistry, biology, and ICT. And we must also have library in all our schools. In addition to these, we would also not compromise recreational facility where they exist, and where they do not exist, we must provide for recreational facilities such as football field and space for other games and sport.
This is the West African People's Institute, WAPI, one of the oldest secondary schools in Calabar. From what it was before the government's rehabilitation, WAPI now wears new looks. According to the principal, the situation was really so pathetic. The school buildings were in a sorry state. As a result of shortage of classrooms and staff rooms, teaching and learning were done in buildings without rooftops, and sometimes under trees. The intervention by the state government under Senator Lieli Moke was therefore a dream come true for staff and students.
With the renovation of our schools, we now have very decent classroom accommodation in most of our schools. Chairs and seats have been provided for the students. We now have laboratories. In all the sciences, we have separate laboratories. Before now, we had all the sciences combined in one lab. We have a multi-purpose lab, but now we have different laboratories for chemistry, physics, biology, introtech, home economics, and arrangements are also on the way to have science laboratories for the junior secondary, the basic sciences. So much has been done to improve on the learning environment in our schools.
The principal says the rehabilitation and upgrading has positively impacted on general discipline, and the improved results from both the West African School Certificate, WASC, and the National Examinations Council, NECO, examinations are a testimony of this fact. The story is the same in the 60 secondary schools which the state government has so far rehabilitated and upgraded. The principal of Government Secondary School, Ishibori Ogoja, has the same story of joy. When asked how he feels on the new look of his school, he was simply speechless on the impact of government intervention on teachers' morale and the performance of the students. As far as he is concerned, this is his most exciting moment as a teacher, because unlike before, when the conditions were nothing to write home about, the government of Lieli Moke has improved the public image of the teaching profession, made it enjoyable and pleasurable.
Government, as far as I know, for how many government, for association of governments, we have not had this kind of opportunity to carry schools in terms of renovations, construction, and all of that into this level that we are today. And so the government of today has done terribly well in all spheres of human endeavors. Education, college education, health, rural roads, and all of that. And so we are here breathing a new air from what government have in mind for the people in terms of education.